Is this microphone on? Yes, it is. Welcome to the show. Today is January 27th, 6:05, and we are live. Everybody that ends up coming in, do share. If it's a repeat, do share. Follow us everywhere at We the People Are the News. Today, I'm eating an Uncrustable.
That was easy.
For a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Imagine if I did this the whole time we were doing the show. Just eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'd probably be a TikTok star. And again, sorry. I do produce this literally in real time. And this is not my only job, clearly. So let's get to it. Topic 1. Facts, not race. This is not 1950. This is 2021. 2021. People should prove identification in order to vote in this country. Leo Terrell. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is, everyone's going to say, Fox News. We have to totally discount whatever this man says because he's on Fox News. Then, he's also going to be, and remember, Dave Chappelle made this joke, the black white supremacist that's blind that doesn't know he's black. They're going to claim that this man suffers from white supremacy and multicultural whiteness, just to discount everything he says. However, the same people that say that will say hashtag listen to black stories, hashtag listen to black voices, hashtag purchase things from black businesses, but if this man had a business, he'd also be canceled. Hypocrisy is very easy to diagnose in this world. All you have to do is actually think for 14 seconds is really a lie. It's a big lie. For less than 0.14 seconds. And it's very simple to see. What's being preached is not actually being practiced by the people preaching it. I have a tendency to call that crap out on this show. Hence why we're here. And this is what happens. And you see this in the beginning on the TVs that are uploading to my head. Look at that. That's what you're going to watch all day. They're going to give you that feed to the brain. They're going to alter the way you think. It's not speculation. This is factual. And that's the way you should deal with things in life, is to kind of think it out and be like, instead of me feeling angry about, this might blow up on TV, instead of me being angry about the response that my body and my brain are giving me to the stimulus of thinking, maybe I should realize it's because nobody's right, nobody's wrong. There's only the correct solution after it's processed. You cannot be right and wrong without backing it up factually and breaking it down in a real-world scenario and a situation. Other than that, you're just saying, I'm on this team, whatever they say is real and correct. And when you do that, you get yourself into some pretty sticky situations. Okay. Joe Biden. 1776 Commission offensive and counterfactual. So I would like to dive deep into exactly the differences between the 1619 project and the 1776 Commission. I have to find where I could get literature on both of these in depth, but I am very, very concerned that the 1776 Commission was put in place to keep history as it was, factually history, since the dawn of everyone's life that is currently living. So, my question would be, what is offensive about the 1776 Commission exactly? Because nobody ever intended to change history. It was to preserve history as is. 1619 project changes the whole entire perception of why the U.S. was founded and why the American Revolution was fought, and backdates the founding of the country to 1619 when slavery started, and kind of alters everything that has been taught for generations, which would be kind of counterfactual, unless we go on feelings. Okay, that was my opening. But where we're going now is going to be an interesting place. So if anybody follows the stock market, right? The New York Stock Exchange. Here we go. This was the biggest story to hit in the past 24 to 48 hours. So let's take it back. Okay? We're going to take this one back. Yesterday, a friend of mine at work came over to me and said, "Did you hear about GameStop?" I said, "No, I did not." What's going on with GameStop? Have they officially gone bankrupt? Are they done? Are they closing? But no, that was not the case. Their stock was surging. Everybody knows that GameStop has been on life support. They're not actually doing well at all. But somehow, they have been on a run in the past 48 to 72 hours now. That's unlike anything that's ever been seen. So they went from a measly couple of dollars a stock to where they are now, which is in the $300 a share range. Somebody would say, how did this happen? Everybody that watches stocks would say, how did this happen? Now, if you go through how hedge funds work, hedge funds make endless amounts of money by short selling stocks. I'm going to move this a little bit over to the side, mate, but I'm going to keep it there like that. So, hedge funds make their money from doing the usual, we're going to sell this stock short and we're going to clean up on it. And if you do that, things get very, very good for you. This happened a lot. I heard it affected Puerto Rico. A lot of places, a lot of hedge funds were basically watching and driving Puerto Rico into bankruptcy and becoming filthy rich off of it. This is kind of one of the things that happen in the stock market. And it's a little disturbing that you could watch so many people fail and so many people get very rich off the gamble of them failing. Now, what would happen if somehow somebody found a way? Because now when you short sell stocks, it's risky because you're selling a stock at a certain price and you have to buy those shares back, and you're saying, I'm going to sell it short and I'm going to buy those shares back for this brokerage or for this person at a price that's even lower than it is now, hence making all of the money in between. Something along those lines. I don't know short selling perfectly, but it's a gamble because if the stock price goes up, everything you just did is the opposite. You're basically giving money back to the company. And you're not making money, you're purging money at the seams. Now, so how did this happen that all of the stock went through the roof? And we got a comment. I can't see what that emoticon is, Bella. So how does somebody know it's getting short sold? I couldn't tell you the whole entire deal, but everybody knows GameStop was going to go under. So people sold things short. It got out into the open. And then something crazy happened. Everybody knows about this little website called Reddit, I'm assuming. I'm sure you've heard of it. A couple of people got on Reddit, a group was formed, and this group decided the investment strategy was to screw over the people selling GameStop short. And we're going to basically, essentially, they stated, we're all going to invest into this. The stock started to go up a lot. And then it went up a lot. And the public was like, what in the hell is happening here? And the person that was selling this stock short fell somewhere into the, I believe, I could be off with the numbers, but I believe it was $3 billion into debt. So this hedge fund manager who wrote books about it is now $3 billion in debt from his short sale because somehow, some way, the internet formed a way. And now, again, what's the law pertaining to this, to basically altering markets? I don't really know it, but it went very, very viral and very fast. And that happened with Elon Musk tweeting about it. Oh, Elon. So it was called Game Stunk, and he actually tweeted a link to the Reddit, one of the Reddits at least, talking about it. And then you had people do it again, Game Stunk, people, so everybody started to be very well aware. And you know how Elon Musk is. He just puts it on the line, like I do, while I eat my Uncrustable. Let this sink in. So Elon Musk tweets it, and now it's front and center on all the stock channels, on the news. Everybody's talking about this, and they're now calling them meme stocks because I guess it's like an internet meme age. So the hedge fund manager went on, who was very happy about his book and about his selling short of GameStop for a very long time. And he tweeted with profanity and said, "This is bullcrap. This is a scary world. If the stock market can be influenced this way." And then he, as far as my understanding, deleted the tweets. And we're left here now with this guy purging billions of dollars from his hedge fund. And a lot of people are making a lot of money. So you're talking about a redistribution of wealth. If somebody went and bought $1,000 of GameStop stock the other day, they're really doing well. Like, I can't give you the math, but it's hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars now we're talking about. So, as all this is going on, we have a look. The stock market today closed Dow closed down minus 633 points. NASDAQ down 355 points. S&P down 98 points. GameStop up $199.53. Whoa. Whoa. It's been a really good 72 hours for GameStop. But this thread went a little further. They started to really dig into other stocks that they're planning on watching drop significantly, and that the hedge fund hunters are going after. One would be AMC Entertainment. The other one would be Nokia. AMC was up $14.94 today. Nokia up $1.82. If you know me, you know I get a little bit of an itch. So I had to take a gamble as if I was at Vegas, and I bought one share of GameStop, and I'm up $20 on that one share right now. AMC, I bought 6 shares, 7 shares, and I'm up on those shares, but not significantly. And Nokia, oh Nokia, the days of playing Snake on the old Nokia phone with the ring. Yeah, I bought shares of Nokia too. So, are these a very risky run? Yes. Are they possibly going to be put on freeze? I don't know what they're going to do with these stocks. But if I browsed this Reddit thread, and everyone said, take your stop order off, don't sell at 1,000. Let's aim to get this to 10,000. And I don't know who's going to risk putting that much money in there, but there's going to be reverse hedge funds. We're like unhedged funds, essentially, if this is going to continue and there's an avenue to continue it. So there is a chance that GameStop by the end of the week, theoretically, if people just keep pumping money into it, they could go up significantly. And I'm going for the ride. Hopefully it's not $3 and then I had a really bad day at the craps table, the digital craps table. Oh, God, I'm sorry, I burped. AMC I have a lot more shares of because it's just starting. But if AMC goes up to 300 and Nokia goes up to 300, well, damn, somebody's making money. And then they have options, I believe, as a sell. You have a stop sell. So if, say GameStop went up to 1,500, I could put a stop sell in for 1,200. And that means if it goes down to 1,200 or just below it, bam, we trigger the sale. And then you could strategically pump this as it keeps going further. Now, I have no idea how any of this works. I'm not even a member of Reddit. So I threw a flyer on there and bought one share. Let it ride, see what happens. Will they take, can they delist it? Can they... I don't know. Right now, I believe that this, as far as I understand, is kind of a new territory, that there is a group on Reddit, a public group where people are posting what's being short sold and people are saving it. There was things where people were saying, make Nokia great again. And everyone's now on the Nokia train. So Nokia is the only one I'm down on, and I'm down on it by probably, I don't know, $5. But we're going to let this one ride. We're going to see what happens. I find it to be very interesting. I really wish I knew about it earlier and understood the whole premise. And Elon Musk tweeted, and somehow I got that notification the minute it came out and went, oh boy, there's some serious stuff ongoing. But again, what's happening on that Reddit, I don't know how it goes. You just have stock tips, essentially. The market's a funny place, ladies and gentlemen. So that was the big stock news of the day. Moving on to COVID. There's Anthony Fauci, real Tina 40, Tina 40 known as Filthy Mouth Tina. Only matched by, as Scott Lebedo would say, himself, but she writes wonderful, wonderful bedtime stories. That was said at the rally at Max in December. So, of course, everybody's heard it's being suggested to wear 2 masks. The more the mask, the merrier. So this wonderful meme has Fauci in about 45 masks, and he looks like a duck, a mask-billed platypus, if you will. But we're going to get into some new COVID interesting topics, okay? So we have this that has come out. China is using anal swabs to detect COVID-19. I thought when I first heard this that they were out of regular swabs to stick up the nose, so they used some sort of anal swab as a substitute. I was sadly mistaken. The article goes on to read, the swabs are inserted 3 to 5 centimeters, or 1.2 to 2 inches, inside of the rectum, according to the outlet. Tang Zheng said the method can increase the rate of detectability and lower the chances of missing a diagnosis. This is the real world. I just have to remind you, because every time you start to drift off, you go, maybe I don't know what the hell's going on and I'm asleep, or I slipped into a coma and I'm actually vented, maybe from COVID or some horrible, horrible accident, and there's no such thing as COVID, and I'm living this weird dream. But nope, this is real life. So what we found is that in some infected patients, the coronavirus survives for a longer period of time in the digestive tract or excrement than in their respiratory tract. So now, in China, you can, and if you're in a certain zone that is considered very infectious or has the new variants, they're tending to move to anal swab you and a little sodomy with your COVID, if you will. Here we are, 2021. The big advancements are find out if you got COVID from your assholes.
That was easy.
Okay, we're not done. No, we are not. So, before I watch this, I have to put this in. I can't exactly fact check this because up until the show started, and I don't know how to work my way around the CDC website, I will explain to you what happened after this video came out, and we'll go from there. But we're going to watch this video. And this was posted on Instagram on the cdcwonder.gov site where you can report issues with your adverse reaction. So if you skip around, I'll let this play out because again I can't fact check any of this beforehand. But watch, they kind of did a screen grab. So let's see how it goes. So you see how their screen grab continues. So just watch. This is a great time to eat my PB&J as there's so much to see. So, of course, I say take it with a grain of salt in case anything was altered. Because it could have been. But this is interesting because what happened afterwards, and again, you'd say CDC would never have this happen where they just put something up and there's all of this evidence and such. But, again, they did switch the death toll very quickly in the summer. All right, pause it. So you have there's ID numbers posted that show that the person is, you can't see what the person is, but allegedly you can read what the people are describing as adverse reactions. Of course, the CDC has it listed as there's no way to know if it's from the vaccines or not, and it could be for any vaccine. You can report these things, allegedly. So one is felt warm, hot, and face, ears were red and flushed. Could have been nervousness, yeah. Headache. One person had a patient felt wave come over my body at 12:18, starting in the head and going down. Bad taste in the mouth, tingling in the body, legs back, across the stomach. Blood pressure of 150 over 100. So let's see. EMS activated. All different BPs listed. Patient declined transport and Benadryl. Symptoms come and go. Patient feels better, but then had bad taste in the mouth, started shaking in the hands. Tingling starts again in the stomach and back. 1,300 hours. Patient requests Benadryl, 25 milligrams administered. Patient notified family by phone. Circumstances, family in transit. Okay, all this stuff. Itching, transported patient. Okay, so you see there's some stuff that's happening. So we're going to pause. We're going to read a few of these. I haven't even read these yet. This just got sent to me before the show with what I'm going to show you at the end, which is very interesting. Okay, so we got Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. 5 to 7 minutes after the vaccine, Associated stated she did not feel right. Mentioned chest pain. My chest feels funny. It feels like when you have really bad heartburn coming on. I feel flushed, like when you get contrast for a CT. Pulse 90 BP. Okay, so headaches, body aches. Within a few minutes after receiving the COVID-19 vaccination, the patient developed lightheadedness, shortness of breath, headache, some nausea. She got some redness to the neck, upper chest. No recent illness. So you see, like, there's a list of stuff. And I believe what they were showing was this is just from December, which didn't even have vaccinations the entire month, if I'm not mistaken, which I don't believe I am. But you're going to see they're going to start scrolling and scrolling. Look at the bar on the right side of this CDC vaccine, Wonder vaccine list. So let's pause it here. Let's just take a pause. Pain in deltoid upon pressure at night, had to lay on the other side. That's normal vaccine stuff. Okay, we got developed chills, nausea, Symptoms have lasted over 3 hours so far, still continuing. Right-sided facial and lip swelling started about 12/16/20. Patient sometimes gets angioedema, so unsure if the patient, if this is related. So there's going to be a lot, and this is why I always preach, if you're willing to get it, that's good. Keep focus on it because, again, you're part of the experiment, essentially. And I don't mean an experiment like that. These are like live happening trials on a mass scale because of the severity of the spread of the virus. But all details are necessary to know exactly where you're going with where the humanity is going with the virus, with the vaccination going forward. Some of these get crazy, though. And again, that's what I'm saying. Could it be a screen altering? Yes. But I couldn't check, nor will I be able to really navigate around this. I don't even know if you can legally navigate around this. I'm not sure, but this is on the internet. It's available. And there has been some stories. And again, CDC did, in fact, change the death toll, the death rate, all of this overnight, and they didn't make a big public statement about it. You only found out on the internet. And that's what could clearly be happening here, and nobody knows to check, and it's kind of all there for you, but they don't possibly want you to see it because it could change the outcome of how many people are willing to join this big public trial. Okay, let's see. Experience chills, hot, cold. Okay, patient with pain. Okay, so you're going to see the scroll get massive scroll. But if you pause it, you can start seeing stuff, right? And, I mean, the quality, of course, of a screen grab is not the best, but let's wait until it unscrolls. But you see how many adverse reactions are being sent into the CDC. Of course, take it with a grain of salt. This could not have been fact-checked. But it just keeps going. It keeps going. And it's moving so fast that you can't really see. Now you move up. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Back to here. This is the end of that list that fit the search criteria. One is death by massive heart attack after Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccination. Let's see. There's a bunch. Resident coded and expired. Injection given 12/28. No adverse events. No issues yesterday. Death today. 12/30/20. Approximately 2 a.m. today. Unknown if it's related. Here's another one. Patient passed away within an hour to hour and a half after receiving vaccine per nursing home staff. They did not expect patient to make it many more days. Now, this seems to continually happen, and I don't know why you're giving a COVID-19 vaccination to somebody who's basically on hospice, who's possibly going to pass away at any point, and they're that frail. I don't get it, unless they're part of some sort of weird experiment to see how many patients in this condition will survive it. Very, very bizarre, because when you're in that situation and you're that bad, you don't get mostly any medical treatment if you're on like a hospice situation. There's one, death by massive heart attack. So yes, patient passed away an hour and a half after receiving per nursing home. Patient was 14 days plus post-COVID. And that we actually heard in the news recently that somebody did have COVID and they did pass away. I think it was they were COVID positive 14 days before, then they had the shot and then they died. And it's going to take time. And of course it's going to take time. And on a major scale, if you're having other reactions, it's going to take time to fully ascertain all of these results and understand them thoroughly. You can't just poof say, I understand it. There's stuff that goes into it. And there's things that are going to have to link up. And there's going to have to be blood work that both patients got. And you check all the different lab values, vitamin levels, everything that all of these patients that had reactions, major reactions, small reactions, see if there's something that's matching. To do that within a month on a whole entire scale across the globe is not really possible. Plus, every country has its own agency. So these agencies have to go interlock and all start going through, well, what was the vitamin D level of this patient? What other comorbidities? What other things have we found out? that these patients that are having reactions, what allergies do they have? What did they develop thereafter? So you know the effects, the long-term effects, which we can't know until we actually have a long-term. It's physically impossible unless you are Rick and Morty and you could go into different time dimensions that have different things. You can't do it. We're living it. It's real-time laboratory pharmaceutical slash vaccination therapeutic, if you will, if you could still carry the virus. Everybody's got to be very cognizant of what happens, because if you get the shot and you're having a reaction, you got to get that information out as soon as you can to places like the CDC and hope that they do the right thing with the information in a quick manner. The doctor that passed away was, again, from blood clotting issues, and who knows? Maybe that one out of every certain amount has something that triggers the cells to do something that nobody foreseen coming, and we're going to find out more and more about that as time goes on. Time for a bite of my Uncrustable. I'm taking these big bites so you don't have to see me eat it all episode long. So moving on. Right there, after this video came out, all day today, up until the point that somebody text messaged me all this information, this is what you got when you went to the CDC wonder.cdc.gov. And I checked, and it seems like wonder.cdc.gov is a legit thing, and it has all different vaccinations, all different information about diseases. I got a little confused when it was let off with Wonder, but a quick Google search shows that it seems to be pretty legit. Again, I don't work for the CDC, but you got to start looking into some of these things. So when I clicked it, I got the same thing: system component temporarily down. Then a couple minutes later, I clicked it and I was able to get in. But again, the show was starting in like 5 minutes, and to work this, it seems like you might have to have some sort of ID or register. So I stayed out of it. And of course, what was if people are using it in a bad way? I'm not touching it. I don't know what the legality is of touching it at this point, but it was up at the last second. So maybe it's going up now. Will they scrub this information? I would hope not, if it's real and it's there. But I do suggest, and again, at this point in my life, I'm not getting the shot. And if I was, I would exhaust every single option to see more information about it. And the reason you need to think this out thoroughly is, I got a phone call today, and I'm going to just go, I'm randomizing everybody's identity. This person said, do you intend to get the shot now that there's all these different variants and they expect it to get really bad by March, the same place we were at last year? First of all, if the lockdowns and the masks and the sanitizing and the general awareness work at all, it could not possibly get there. That's A. And B, if they don't work, well, then it'll get there, and there's nothing that can be done. Again, who says and where is it coming from? And it was, of course, they said it on TV. And the more I hear that, the more I feel like everybody has not put into account that what you hear on TV isn't always exactly how it is in real life. We were told 2 million people were going to die last April. I believe it was last April. They're like, this is the big week. 2 million people are going to be dead. We're at 400,000 right now. And of those 400,000 something that are unfortunately no longer with us, a lot of them had certain stipulations as to why the virus did what it did, and some didn't, but mostly all did, a good vast majority. Also, having said that, the number that was so inflated, of course, never happened, and you have to think about where and what you're willing to take part in for, again, a disease that the survival rate went through the roof actually for. And of some of these deaths, presumed, and this has been everywhere, it's presumed COVID, or they had COVID, but that wasn't the cause of death, but they had it recently. There's a lot of presumed as well. So, exhaust your options if you're going for the shot. Think about it. Now, the big one that's on everybody's mind. I had this sent in to me. The Bernie portal is an HR basically resource for that exists on the web. And here we have the beginning of what everyone felt coming since day one. Day one. What employers should know about workplace coronavirus vaccines. Okay. Where are we going with this one? Well, here we go. What should employers consider for workplace vaccinations? There's a lot to consider when it comes to either requiring or just encouraging your employees to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Here are some logistic-related considerations for employers to keep in mind. 1. Can you require vaccines? Yes. Here we go. Employers are allowed to require their employees to receive the vaccine with the exception of those who can refuse for religious and medical reasons. Okay. So, when you have religion, this is a very big thing. I find myself to be very spiritual, and my religion is spiritual, and it's from my development and of what I've taken in throughout time. My exact outlook on life might not be the same as anyone's, but I have a freedom in this country to, in fact, practice and believe what I want without getting killed, harassed, and all that jazz. So, for me, it would be against literally my whole entire religion, understanding, and spirituality to get this vaccination because of where my headspace is at. This is factual. You could hook me up to a lie detector test. I'm very big with that because when people think that I just spew shit, I'd love to just prove it to them so I could take the spit they think I've spewed and give them a facial with it. Sorry.
That was easy.
So, can you require vaccines? The answer now is yes, and we've said what the refuse, who can refuse. So, new guidelines for employees and employers and employees about how a COVID-19 vaccinations interacts legally with the Americans with Disabilities Act, Title 7 of Civil Rights Act of 1964, and the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act. Okay. Find the guidelines, which include exceptions for employer-mandated vaccines. Okay, we got the point here, right? So we're gonna skip over to bullet 5. Okay, this is where we're at now. Bullet 5. After your workplace is vaccinated, what happens next? If you are requiring vaccination at your organization and have been operating remotely, will you plan to return to office, implement a hybrid schedule, or give your employees the choice to work remotely? Even after individuals have received 2 rounds of either COVID-19 vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, and there's a third on the way, which is supposed to be 1 shot by Johnson & Johnson, and we should have a choice to watch what literature comes out and feel comfortable before we take an experimental brand new vaccine that hasn't had a major trial like mostly any drug, including probably Pepto-Bismol. Right? You would think that you'd have that right, specifically as a young person willing to take that risk and understanding of the virus and operating under your own accord. So, the CDC still advises everyone to wear a mask and keep socially distant while experts continue to evaluate the performance of the vaccine. Exactly. We're still evaluating the performance of the vaccine because the trial size and time and length still doesn't show how long that the vaccine protects you. Also, you're still supposed to socially distance and wear a mask. So how could you possibly know the effects of the vaccine if everybody's not out there living life? When do you pull that trigger and say, the mask is off, everybody go back to living, and now we'll find out how well the vaccine works? Or do we just take these vaccines every 6 months, a year, every year and a half, 2 years, whatever they decide, because of the information that they based off of when people were wearing a mask and socially distancing and eating outside in the goddamn blizzards. So, all this information is built on a very, very, very small target field. The audience that took part was small. They had masks, socially distanced. There's so many variables. That's why they're still going to have to evaluate the performance. And they're probably, I would assume, slowly going to take the mask off and return to normalcy over the next 2 to 3 years. Hopefully it went down a lot. And then we'll really see the amount that the vaccination works. But who would tell their employees if they're working from home, you have to get vaccinated? If you're working from your own home, who would be crazy enough to do it? If somebody was like, listen, I'm young, I'm healthy, I work from home. I can't really go out because nothing's really open, and life has lost all its zest. Who would just be like, you know what? I'm still going to get the vaccine because I'm going to sit at home and socially distance and wear a mask. I don't know, but there's people out there that think that's a good idea. But if you would think that's a good idea, you should definitely contemplate maybe waiting a year, maybe seeing if there's any reproductive harm, maybe see if there's any other illness linked to it. You gotta think. If somebody was ballsy enough to say, I'm never wearing a mask again the day I get the second shot, I'm going to be the guinea pig, power to you. If I was forced to get the shot, I would never wear a mask again. I would walk in a store and I would be like, yo, look, I got my shot. And if I die from COVID, well, I guess the vaccine didn't work. Case closed. So think about everything and think about what's coming down the pipe. It's that right there that's coming down the pipe. Wait, let's do this. Let's gotta get this right. All right, yeah, right there. So we all thought that that day might come. And ladies and gentlemen, that day is really getting close because once there's enough vaccine and it's going around, that's when they're going to feel comfortable enough to say, because they don't want to close whatever business they can keep open right now. That's when the government's going to be like, well, you can't operate your business if you let people in that don't have the vaccine. And they're talking about today flights. Domestic flights are going to require a rapid test that's done in the airport. This is what's coming down to. So, if they do that, what's to say that they will not make you have a vaccination to ever fly or do anything? And what makes it to be a crazy statement to say that one day, if the test comes back positive, you'll have an option, a second option, a more thorough option, where the TSA agent can just stick an anal swab up your butt before you get on the flight. It could happen. 2022 is looking real bright, guys. Next up, we're going to close out the show with Biden. We have to look at statistics. All America's been kicking arse on Instagram. Executive orders by presidents in their first month in office. Trump had 4, Obama had 8, Bush had 2, Clinton had 2, Old man Bush had 1, Reagan had 1. Executive orders issued by Biden in his first week, not first month, 37. That's a lot of executive orders. And they say talk about a complete dictatorship. Everybody was really upset when Trump did executive orders. There's a lot of this man's a dictator banter going on, and he's doing everything by executive order. But we're 7 days in now, and we're 37 executive orders deep. And again, some union members for the unions involved with the Keystone Pipeline, they celebrated the win. They said, we helped push them over the edge. Now they're all facing unemployment. And I noticed today when I filled up my gas tank on the way home that it had hit a very, very steep number for the premium, at least. We're in the $3 for the premium gas. 93 unleaded high test gas with your credit card is in the $3 area. It's been a long time since I've seen that. It's only been a week. Wait until we actually feel the effects of the supply chain moving straight back over to other countries in the Middle East. And China and Russia's pipeline that's going on. We're just giving parts of the energy sector and the economy away hand over fist for the environment. However, I got news for you. the environment is still figuratively getting raped by people that are promoting gas and petroleum and oil. They still have to get it out of the earth, and it's happening all over the world. Just because it's not happening specifically here doesn't change the CO2 emissions, doesn't change the fact that the world is getting slightly destroyed every day by it. All it changes is that the power of the dollar goes to the gas tank, goes to the other countries, our economy takes a dip, and of course the federal minimum wage, they want to hike up to 15 across the board, which I'm sure New York will be like, well, we're always one step ahead, so we might as well make our minimum wage $23. And there's just no way that I'm going to be able to, and you probably aren't going to be able to, deal with the inflation that it causes, and everybody will be in unison in a socialist utopia of the bottom line, where everyone's brought down and the majority are right here at the bottom, living a very, very mediocre and crappy lifestyle. No way to thrive, so don't even try. We're going to continue. And again, if one wanted to leave a comment, if one wanted to challenge me on any of this, if one wanted to actually come on the show and have a legal debate with a judge on debate, not to win the debate, but to actually perform in a debate, by all means, reach out to me. I like debating, if you can't tell. Next, I told you, all America's kicking arse. Insane Joe Biden. Insane. Joe Biden signs executive order, this is one of the 37, banning the term, quote, China virus. That's right. So there's an executive order that doesn't let any health organization involved with the government and anyone in the federal government to refer to COVID-19 as the China virus. Joe Biden signed an executive order today that banned the term China virus. It's not clear how this will help with the pandemic. The coronavirus is widely believed today to have been created in a lab in Wuhan, China. This was one of his 37 executive orders in 6 days. Okay. A lot of people have been offended by the statement China virus for very, very, very way too long. Okay? Ebola is called Ebola because of the river it's found in Africa. Something along those lines. Hold on. The Hong Kong flu happened in the 60s, I believe. It was called the Hong Kong flu because it was discovered in, you guessed it, Hong Kong. The UK variant is called the UK variant because it was discovered in the UK. If the one that sounds exactly like the UK strain that happened in Houston in like August or September, if you called it the Houston variant, it would be because it's from Houston. Why? If it was found in China. Now, I call it COVID. I don't call it China virus. But if it was found in China, came from China, and now is widely believed not to be from a bat or pangolin that existed in China, or in South Park version, had sex with Mickey Mouse and Randy Marsh, what in the God's green earth is this so offensive? And then they go on to say it creates hate crimes. It creates people to think that people of Asian descent will have it. I got news for everybody. You could have said that in the beginning, where people were a little stunad and they were spraying Lysol at people of Asian descent on the trains in New York City. And if I remember the clip correctly, not that this matters at all, but the guy spraying the Asian person in the eyes with Lysol on the New York City train was not white. It doesn't matter, but I'm just saying how racism happens across all different races. Doesn't matter if you're white or black, because racism's just racism. It's a form of hate that people sometimes have, and it's really despicable. But it doesn't matter if you're white, black, or Chinese. You can all feel a certain way about other people in a really bad, despicable way. Okay, just had to get that off my chest. Because we all forget, because CNN told us. So, here we are, and this can't possibly, at this point, create hate. Unless it was hate for literally the country of China. Not the people, the country of China. But not here, because I got a news flash. I know this is crazy and it's hard to take in. COVID is all over the place. It's in almost every country in the world. So how can you say only Asian people would have it unless you were a complete derelict campaign by Mugatu? So yeah, if you're in the federal government now and you refer to COVID as the China virus, you've broken an executive order, which is basically another mandate from the president / dictator, if you want to call him that, since it works for Trump. Also, if you're on the floor of the House and you refer to your granddaughter as a granddaughter, it might offend people because, of course, you're not allowed to give the person's sex. They're supposed to be like non-binary, even though like right after Nancy Pelosi totally crapped on her own rule, but that's what a lot of politicians do. And for some reason, everyone's okay with it when it's on their side. Next, and finally, Biden creates commission to study Supreme Court reform. Oh boy! Oh boy! We saw this coming, and he said, I don't have to answer what I'll do with the Supreme Court. And I won't ban fracking, but he did. I won't do this and that and that. And he killed all the jobs. Oh, God. And we said this was coming, and the commission is to study Supreme Court reform. Because the numbers just aren't good enough for the Democrats right now on the Supreme Court. So it's going to stop them from doing things that are completely unconstitutional. So which way can you do something to get around it? It was long guessed that they would try to pack the courts. And going into the election, just like they never asked him questions about foreign policy, they let him get away with not mentioning what he would do with the Supreme Court. He just ignored it, and everyone allowed it because the media's fixed, and everyone was fixated on getting rid of Trump. And God, the buyer's remorse is going to go through the roof. But my stock portfolio is probably going to thrive under a Biden presidency. So after this, there will not be a far-left president elected, I would say, ever again. Because anyone of any moderate will need a moderate candidate from the Democrats, which they refuse to put forward. They already squashed Tulsi Gabbard. They send out Hillary to totally do a character assassination. So you're stuck with the Bernies or the people that are so frail that they're basically held up by the party and they have to sign things while they say, I don't even know what I'm signing. Here we are. Biden creates commission to study Supreme Court reform. How did it go in Venezuela? Does anybody know? History lesson. From my understanding, they kind of packed the court so there would be no pushback to their agenda, and then they took a very successful country and turned it into a dystopian crap hole. So, we're right on target. Way to go. If the numbers don't work, fix them. And you wonder why, after the media wouldn't ask hard questions, they wouldn't ask about foreign policy, they wouldn't ask about how he would be with China, they wouldn't ask about the Supreme Court, that when it all, clearly everyone was in bed together, guys. That's clear as day. So when that all went down, you wonder why people started to question all the numbers. Because when the numbers don't work, they pack the court. And what's going to be the rebuttal if they do? The Republicans get full control. They're going to double pack the court. Super secret probation. You're starting a slippery slope of ridiculousness that should never happen. The numbers aren't in your favor. Well, guess what? Sucks to suck sometimes. Sometimes the numbers aren't in the favor of the Republicans. And we do the fight, but we never say, let's just change the entire system to somehow let us be the best. When Trump got into office, there was a ton of vacancies on the courts. And when that occurred, what exactly happened? He filled them with conservative judges across all different federal courts. In reality, you wouldn't think that he would come into that many open seats, but they allowed it. Did we fix the system? No, the system was open, and conservatives did what they did. And they should have, because there was openings. You're not just going to be like, well, let's just put all the Democrats in that like to have courts packed and like to just change things and that say, not my president for 4 years. And no, that's not how the parties work. And it's just the same way. Going back to when Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or when I have dyslexia, I say Ruth Gator Binsburg, and the whole Amy Coney Barrett, or when I have dyslexia, I say Amy Boney Carrot. When that whole shindig went down in the summer, and there was my most fervent wishes that I don't get replaced by this president, that big statement went out, and everyone lost their mind times 4 trillion of last year. Everyone's like, we didn't do this at the end. Yet they wanted to, but they didn't have the Senate. So Obama could not put somebody in. But if anybody has it twisted, if the Democrats had the seats, right, in the Senate, they would have rammed somebody right down the Republicans' throats, even if there was protests, even if everyone agreed or disagreed. This is politics. And you take whatever advantage you can get in whatever snaky way you can get it. Both parties do it. Let's just call it what it is. Let's be honest. The Democrats would have replaced the empty seat that had been there, and they would have put somebody in. And when they act like they did this great act of, well, the Republicans said that they shouldn't do that. Well, yeah, they did. Because that was a nice way to say, go F yourself. Because, again, it's politics. And you would have done it. It's just 100% factual. I guarantee it. Again, put all of these people in the Senate that were there. Put Obama on a lie detector and let me know how they come out when you say, would you have put a justice on the Supreme Court? And they say no. It would be like, and that's, of course, my opinion. But I'm sure if you have any form of critical thinking, you know neither party's given a centimeter if they don't have to. And they'll take whatever the hell they can get. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have a date with my virtual reality boxing counterpart. So I'm going to go box now because it's hard to juggle working out with this show. And I want you all to share this. I want you all to think. And I want you to remember that we the people are the news now.
That was easy.
Share it. See you tomorrow at 6. And everybody... Oh, wait. There's some comments. Let's see. Can you ban a word in America? In the federal government, it appears yes, you can. Okay. Freedom of speech over now? Pretty much. They're trying. I call it the vid. Ah, yes. Everyone does. Sticks and stones, bro. If people are going to be this sensitive about sounds that form words that we made up, we already lost everything. Well, we're fighting to make sure that doesn't happen every day by having this show where words can still come out of my mouth. I will see you tomorrow. Share it. We the People Are the News. Follow it everywhere at We the People Are the News. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen. Same channel, same time. John.